All right, so I've got people onboarded, and if you're anything like half of our clients, I had a really big launch event and I got a lot of users. Where are they? How do I know where, how I lost my users? How do I know more information about what's going on? So this is a topic that is near and dear to us at Modern Logic, analytics. So what can we learn from games about analytics? Because I think games in particular have been well in advance of the curve on analytics for a very long time.
Yeah, so a metaphor that we used to use in gaming was analytics help us understand how the patient is doing. So our product was our patient. So every single day we were seeing, how is our patient doing? Is it going up? Are users going up? Are they going down? Where are we losing them? Are we losing them in onboarding? When we run out of content, how long are they staying? Is it 7 days, 14 days, 28 days? We're trying to see where the problem areas are, and analytics showed us. So what usually happens is after we ship the game, our game is the analytics, is playing the analytics. So we're in spreadsheets then after that with the game designers and with the developers to understanding what the people are doing in the game or what they're not, or where we're losing them. And to give you a B2b example, so I mentioned I left and went to an AR, VR, 3D streaming company. They used to be a gaming company. For 20 years, they did race car games. And so they pivoted to the automobile industry. So they were creating streaming 3D web, VR experiences for big time automobile industries, BMW, Audi, Porsche, Ferrari, Pagani, and even Volkswagen to Cadillac. And so they knew analytics were really, really important. They knew at the end that they're going to ask for, well, how did this help? How can you show that this helped us? So what they did is built analytics into their program from the very beginning. So usually it started with a trial. So they could tell how long the user spent on the website, what model of vehicle they looked at, what color they looked at, how many times did they change the color? Did they change the tires? Did they put a roof rack on? This was all done anonymously. I want to really make clear that this was anonymous. They can't say, oh, Chip was doing this. This person's number was doing this. And the big trick for automobile companies is to get them into the dealership. So then they would generate a code that you could put on your phone, go to the dealership and show it to them. And the dealer would then understand what you looked at, what you really wanted. They were an educated customer. And then they could see, once again, they could create a personalized experience. So they could say, hey, I noticed you were interested in those high-end tires. I'll give you a deal on it. Or I know you like the roof rack. How about we throw in the roof rack? Because that's how the dealers made their money, is actually by upgrading what was on the car. So what happened at the end, they were able to tell the customer, hey, they're spending this much time on the website. These are the things they're looking at. We've seen an increase in the dealerships. They're making this much more money per month. And all of a sudden accounting was going, wait a minute, this is great. This is actually worth investing. So if you got the accounting company as your champions, it's going to make things a lot smoother for them. So that was just a little trick that they learned. It was all built in, that they knew they were going to get asked, are we winning or are we losing? And they could give them this information. And it also trickled over into things. They had happy accidents, we call them, was they were noticing, well, people really like these color cars. So maybe we should slow down the production of this other car color, because building these cars costs a lot of money. It helped them understand what people really liked, and it helped them with inventory management. So little tricks like that.
Yeah, so I think that just a bunch of important points there, and I can't stress this enough. And your game, once you launch, is analytics. Yeah. Right? As product owners, as innovators, we like to think, oh, we're going to have all these great ideas to improve our product. Once you ship your product, you no longer own your product. Your users own your product, and what they want matters way more than what you think they want and what you want, right? And analytics are the only way to get that, other than going and asking users. So I think that's the other component of games. Did you bring people in? Did you survey? Did you,
Yes.
you know, did you, how, were there other ways of gathering data rather than just tracking clicks and numbers?
Yeah, A/B testing. We used to create different builds with different features to see if people like the features. A great story is, if people remember Farmville on Facebook, they A/B tested everything. So the animals, the colors, everything, they got it down to a science where it was like, if you used the red horse was the best one that had the most clicks. Or, you know, the other thing they did was I think their best one was your pigs are dying. You know, so it's just this guilt messages that getting them to come back. And so they tested everything to get these people to come back in. But A/B testing was, we could try out a new feature with just a select group of people and not the whole world, because you could release it to everybody. Like, once again, like that, you had 1 million users and everyone hated it. But if you send it out to 20,000, they're like, oh, we don't like it. Or they like, we really like this. Then you're on to something. So you're not sacrificing the whole product. So that A/B testing is really important.
Yeah.
And we also did, another big thing we did was, user testing. And sometimes this was very, very hard. Microsoft had a whole division. Every night they tested a product. And I would really highly suggest you bring your people in there who are working on the product. They may cry. They may be really sad. I remember sitting in one and it was like, click on the button to play spades. I can't find it. And I had to hold back developers from breaking through the one-way glass, because they're like, it's right there. But it was really positive, because they said, see, they don't see it. You look at this every single day. These customers don't see it. So that user testing with real users is so important.
Yeah, at Adobe, we did the same thing. And one of the things that I learned was users are much less tolerant of performance issues than you think they are, and much more tolerant of bugs than you think they are. It was kind of inverse to the way we thought things were going to go. If you made them wait for a spinner for 10 seconds, you lost them. They were screaming at their monitors sometimes. But if you popped up a dialog that says, oh, sorry, we deleted all of your data, they would just click through and be, okay, how do I rebuild it? It's interesting. And you don't learn what people really care about. You'd see people clicking on things that weren't click targets. You'd see people, doing a lot of work, working with, to get to a feature that had a quick shortcut, but that shortcut didn't look the way they expected. So watching your users use your app is one of the most enlightening experiences I can think of in terms of getting
good and bad. Good
and bad. It's definitely, I would describe it as brutal. Bring in food and make sure you have some sort of morale experience afterward, because it is definitely not a heartwarming experience. Users, like I said, they don't care about you. They're going to be brutal. And pay a company to do this. Don't try to do it yourself.
Yeah.
There are professional companies. They're pretty affordable to get that done. So the other thing I heard you say that I think is really interesting and really valuable is, as we get into the economics, which we have a slide later, but as we get into the economics and the math behind our apps, this is data that can help your sales department sell. So if you're a B2B company and you can go to your sales department and say, hey, they like yellow cars. Well, now this is a person calling into a Fortune 500 who knows that this particular cohort wants this particular type of feature in your app, is using this particular feature in your app. So maybe you have a specific slide deck for that particular type of user that can really nail them and get them into the buying experience quicker. And your marketing department is the same. What are they highlighting? Traditionally, as you launch, they're highlighting the things you think are important about your app. But as you get data, you will learn, oh, they use this feature a lot. And we thought this was just a small feature that we added. But if you're anything like Yelp, this was an experience with Yelp. Yelp became a business based on a small feature of their original app, right? And so I think that's really important. Watch what your analytics are doing and use it to drive your entire company. Don't use it to just drive your onboarding, your click-through, and your stickiness. Use it to drive your sales, use it to drive your marketing. The other thing is, if once you ship, can't stress this enough, don't add a feature unless you have a metric that you can use to measure whether that feature is working or not. Because
one last point, I know we're running on time, was another thing we did when I was at that company for a very large automobile company is we got rid of their catalogs. Printing the catalogs, they were out of date as soon as they went out, and they would be stacked up. And so what we were able to do was create a custom catalog for that person. So they got a catalog with the colors they picked, the model they picked, the accessories they had. So the person felt like, hey, this is my brochure. It has my name on it. It has a color, everything I picked on it. So it was much more important to them, but it also saved them a ton of money of printing up those catalogs. And that, like I said, were out of date as soon as they send them out because there was a color change or there was a model change. So there's a thing you can do there too to help save you money. You know, saving money is just as good as making money. So
And there's a retailer here in town, in Minnesota, Target, which I'm sure you've all heard of, and they had data analysis down to the point where they could tell things about your family before you knew them, based on your buying patterns. And they actually had to go the other way, where they had to customize their coupons and then randomize a few of the things so that it felt less creepy. So you want to walk the line where you're not being creepy with this stuff. But I think if you are a B2C, driving your coupon experience, driving your brochure experience, driving your catalog experience with data is really important. If you're a B2B company, driving your feature development, your sales team, your marketing outreach, all this stuff should be coming out of your analytics.